Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel, your trusted place for South African political news, commentary, and a little bit of humor to make sense of the madness in Mzansi politics. Now, here's a headline that caught everyone off guard this week. South Africa officially has a new acting president, and no, it's not Angie Motshekga this time. President Cyril Ramaphosa has handed over the country's top job, even if just temporarily, to Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana. That's right, the man who usually talks about budgets, inflation, and fiscal discipline will now be running the country for 6 full days. From October 21 to October 27, 2025, Enoch Godongwana will be acting president while Ramaphosa embarks on a diplomatic tour of Southeast Asia. And before anyone starts asking why Angie Motshekga, the usual stand-in, was skipped this time, or where Deputy President Paul Mashatile is, don't worry, we'll get to that. There's a bit of behind-the-scenes drama to unpack here. According to the presidency, President Ramaphosa made the appointment because he'll be on consecutive international visits. Deputy President Mashatile, on the other hand, is said to be on leave. That's the official version. But if you've been following South African politics, you'll know that on leave sometimes means more than just rest. It can mean internal tensions, quiet sidelining, or even strategic reshuffling. And that's where this story gets interesting. Let's start with Enoch Godongwana himself. A seasoned politician, he's been in the ANC for decades, known for his cool-headed approach to finance and his pragmatic, sometimes even conservative, economic views. Many in business circles trust him, while others in labor unions and within the ANC's left-wing structures think he's too market-friendly. Yet now, he's holding the keys to the union buildings, at least until Ramaphosa's plane lands again. It's almost poetic. The man who has spent his life trying to balance the nation's books now gets to balance the whole country, even if it's just for a week. One can imagine Godongwana's mornings starting with budget spreadsheets and ending with intelligence briefings. For a finance minister who's usually buried in fiscal documents, this is quite the promotion, even if temporary. But the timing of this acting presidency raises eyebrows. Why is Paul Mashatile on leave right when the president is out of the country? It's not the first time Ramaphosa has handed the reins to someone other than his deputy. Angie Motshekga, the basic education minister, has often filled in as acting president when both Ramaphosa and Mashatile were unavailable. But this time, she's out too, which means Godongwana is the third choice, or perhaps the safest political option. Now, let's be honest, South Africa has had its fair share of acting presidents, and these short-term appointments rarely make headlines. But in a politically sensitive year, especially with coalition tensions still simmering after the 2024 general elections, every move matters. Appointing Godongwana could be seen as a signal of stability, or as a quiet message to certain factions within the ANC. Think about it. The GNU, or Government of National Unity, is still fragile. The ANC, DA, and other coalition partners are trying to present a united front while managing huge differences behind closed doors. And with Ramaphosa out of the country, it's crucial that someone trusted and steady sits at the top. Godongwana fits that description perfectly. He's not known for wild statements or political drama. In fact, he's almost boringly reliable, and maybe that's exactly what Ramaphosa wants right now. But let's not ignore the elephant in the room, Paul Mashatile. The deputy president has been under increasing scrutiny, with rumors of internal power struggles and quiet friction between him and Ramaphosa. Some insiders claim Mashatile has ambitions beyond the deputy role and that his leave may be less about rest and more about reducing his visibility. Ramaphosa, as always, remains silent on such matters, but his decisions often speak louder than his words. Meanwhile, the South African public seems amused by the news. Social media has been flooded with jokes about Godongwana balancing not just the national budget but also Eskom's load-shedding schedule. Others joke that maybe, under his leadership, the rand might finally behave for a week. Some even said they're hoping for budget speeches at breakfast from the new acting president. Humor aside, Godongwana's appointment does show a growing trust in his leadership within Ramaphosa's circle. Remember, this is the same finance minister who has been steering South Africa's fragile economy through rising debt, low growth, and endless pressure to deliver fiscal discipline while funding social programs. It's a tough balancing act, but he's managed to keep the financial ship from completely capsizing. Now, as acting president, Godongwana's responsibilities expand far beyond Treasury. He'll oversee cabinet operations, handle national security briefings, and act as the face of government, all while maintaining his usual duties. And yes, all this while Ramaphosa tours the world, meeting with Asian leaders and promoting South Africa's trade and investment interests. It's also worth noting how much symbolic weight this temporary role carries. Acting president or not, the appointment gives Godongwana an edge in internal ANC politics. In a post-Ramaphosa future, every visible leadership moment counts. Having sat, even briefly, in the presidential chair is no small achievement in the ANC's succession chessboard. But back to the public angle, does this change anything for ordinary South Africans? Not really. Policies won't shift in 6 days, and governance will continue as planned. But symbolically, it's an intriguing reminder of how power circulates quietly in the corridors of Pretoria. The president's decision may also reflect a careful balancing act within the GNU, keeping coalition partners reassured, internal factions calm, and the business community confident. And for Enoch Godongwana, this might be a brief but meaningful test of leadership on a national scale. So while Ramaphosa is flying across Asia to strengthen diplomatic ties, the finance minister gets his turn behind the big desk. It's a rare moment, one that reveals not chaos, but rather the delicate machinery of South Africa's executive power. Still, many South Africans will be watching closely. Will Godongwana's short presidency pass quietly, or will it expose deeper cracks within the governing alliance? And what does Paul Mashatile's absence really mean for the political balance inside the ANC? As usual, in Mzansi politics, nothing is ever as simple as it seems. If you found this story interesting, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss our deep dives into South African politics. And most importantly, tell us what you think in the comments. Do you believe Ramaphosa trusts Godongwana more than Mashatile? Or is this just a convenient scheduling decision? Thank you for watching, and as always, we'll keep bringing you the stories behind the headlines. See you next time.